That is great stuff, and huge advice all the way through. And I think there's so much rich content and takeaways for everybody. So hopefully you're enjoying this. I know that I am so far. I did want to go back because we did skip over the why.
Yes.
So is now an all right time?
This is perfect.
Okay, so let's do that. So what is your why, Mark? I mean, what drives you? What motivates you?
So when I was preparing for this program today,
sure,
I was looking back at some of my notes, and I ran across an old goal sheet I put together. And it wasn't what I was looking for, but it came up, and I thought, oh, I'll look at it. Because sometimes it's interesting to look back at your old goals.
Yeah.
And this is one I did in August of 2012.
Okay.
So in 2011 or 2012, I worked for a communications company here in Colorado Springs in a sales role.
Okay.
And 2011 was a great year. I was the #1 salesperson in the state.
Wow.
And then 2012 was not nearly as good. And I found myself in August, looking at, whether or not I was even going to have my job at the end of the year. And so I sat down and I wrote out this goal sheet. At the time, I used this format where I write down first, what's the outcome? What are the results you're looking for, right? I mean, let's say you are sort of goal, right? What are you trying to do? I mean, you got to write it down, right?
Yeah.
So, and I set a big goal. I wasn't just, I was going to keep my job, or I was going to, sell a 100% quota for the next 3 months, but I was going to not only blow it out for the end of the year, but I was going to make up for the whole beginning of the year and end up, going to President's Club and getting the sales award at the end of the year. And that was set a big goal here. And so I wrote that down very clear. And then the next step is to write down the whys.
Okay.
And so I wrote this very detailed. Spent a lot of time on this, but a whole page of all these different whys. Really, what is it going to mean to me to accomplish this goal? What's it going to actually do in my life and my family's life when I achieve this? And then you go through into the hows. What are the things I could do, not necessarily like a requirement. It's like, people say, I'm going to lose weight. First thing, well, I'm going to go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. And then, 3 days in, they oversleep, and at 6:30, and like, I failed, and they quit. Well, it's not about going to the gym every day. It's about getting the results. So this was, things that I could do, right?
Sure.
And so, and I'm going to skip ahead.
Yeah.
For the sake of time.
Sure.
And I didn't do it. I lost the job. And there's a whole other story there. We could take another 20 minutes, which we won't.
Episode 2.0. We'll catch that some other time. No, I appreciate that.
But I didn't get that goal. I ended up losing the job. That was at the end of 2012. Went and did some consulting. Ended up getting the call from my buddy Steve. Ended up here at St. Alban. Ended up being a great thing. But I looked back at that sheet, and I pulled this out because I printed it for you. I got this.
Yeah, I love it.
This is all the whys. Everything in green, I got.
So I just want to make sure everybody sees that. So everything in green.
Everything in green, I got. Everything in yellow, I got in a different way, maybe not exactly as I wrote it down on here, but in a way that I could say to you, yeah, I wrote it this way, but I got it this way. And you'd say, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And the orange I didn't get. So that's two of the things in this list, and it really made me completely, as a result of, this is my huge gratitude to you for this program, it really made me completely rethink my goals, because I would have told you beforehand the target is, whatever, it's selling 200 houses this year, or, making a certain amount of money, or buying the car. That's the goal, right? And then the whys are, I want to take care of my family, and I want to, go on vacation, and I want to buy a new house, and these things, those are the whys. And then the hows might be the track or the road that you're going to, drive on to get there, right? So the whys are the engine. I would have said that a month ago. What are the whys? The whys are the engine that drives you to the goal. I don't think that's true anymore.
Interesting. All right, you got to share. You got to tell us.
The whys are the goal, Greg. If you, I don't know what the right numbers are for your business, but you sell 1,000 title orders this year, and because you said, I want to buy a new home for my family, I want to take my family on vacation, and I want to, go on an amazing, 3-day weekend retreat with my wife, and you sell 1,000 title orders and you don't do those things, Greg, did you meet your goal?
No.
And I would tell you the whys are the engine, the whys are the goal.
Wow. I love that. I don't think I've ever, heard that or had that broken down that way before. I mean,
and if you believe enough in what those whys are, then the engine doesn't matter, the vehicle doesn't matter. And I was very blessed to have the opportunity to land here at St. Alban Homes and to do the things I did. There's another sheet, one more example. this is my sales report that I keep track of, where
Okay.
I keep track of my sales every month.
Sure.
Since I've started here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to see it on my computer screen, you see there's one number in red. I've highlighted it in yellow here, and it doesn't really matter. It's right in the middle. It's a 1 right in the middle. It was in August of 2015 when I sold one house.
Okay.
And on September 1st of 2015, Mr. St. Alban's business partner came into the model to check on me.
Sure.
And he says, "Hey, you know, how many houses did you sell last week?" I said, 1. He says, "How many houses did you sell last month?" I said, 1. He said, "I don't think I can get you more than another month here if that doesn't change." And he was right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, or didn't think there was anything more I could do, but the rest of this is a whole big story. But I look at this every time I pull up my sales report because I want to remember I could be back there anytime.
Right.
You know, if I fail to take that responsibility, you know, for the things that are important. And so one of my whys is I hate losing, Greg.
Okay. That's a great why. I think there's a lot of commonality there, right?
I really do.
Yeah.
And actually that also comes from Mr. St. Alban. I was in his office, you know, just probably last year. He said, "Mark," he says, "I love winning, but I hate losing."
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, you really look at it that way. I think that's to me a healthy way to really respond to something like that, personally.
But I mean, if you were to look at this list in detail, and we're not going to do it on the
Sure.
show, but you and I could look at it later.
That would be an episode right there for sure.
But,
yeah.
A lot of those things are family things. You know,
Okay.
buying a house. You know, that my kids can grow up in.
Sure.
Taking care of helping my son with college. You know, paying loans back to my mom and my brother that helped me out when things were you know, when things were in bad shape. You know, a lot of the family things that are on here are important. Taking my daughter to Disneyland or Disney World.
I love it.
At the time. So the whys are the most important thing. It's a lot of family thing for me.
Sure.
This summer I'm going to take my family on another great vacation that I've been really looking forward to for a long time. It's hard to get vacations in this job.
Okay.
And so I'm actually going to be, you know, really, really on vacation for a week.
Wow,
and
rare.
That's going to be really tough. So me and my team are going to have a lot of prep work to do
Okay.
between now and then, because these 3 days I was just in New York City. I was on the phone all the time. And I won't be able to answer my phone. So we're going to have to do a little work to make sure that that's possible, and that, you know, the buyers and the agents continue to get the service they need. But
you know, I love that, and you mentioned, you know, it's very hard to detach, and there's so many moving parts and continuance, and there's consistency in nature of your business. And I just got this visual of Mark, you know, running up the steps of the Empire State Building on his phone, handling transactions. I mean, it's just, there's devotion, there's consistency, and it's because you're passionate, you care, right? But there are important times in our lives where you got to unplug, you got to unwind, you have to take some time to recharge, and that's what you're doing. And I think that more of us that are high producers, high, you know, thought leaders, it's really hard to detach. It's hard to step away, but it makes a big difference. It really does. There's a level of clarity, and I hope everybody can, you know, kind of soak that in and take some advice. If this man is taking some time off, you can too. So that's there for sure. So